So we just wait for a couple of more minutes and then we'll start.
Hi Harish, can you hear me? Swati here.
Hi Swati.
Hi, good evening.
Hi Swati, Rajesh here. How are you?
All well, Rajesh. Thank you. How are you? Hi, Sandeep.
Microsoft.
Hi. Kaustubh here.
Hi Kaustubh.
Hi, Harish.
Kaustubh. How are you?
All the best. All the best. Wonderful.
You.
My video doesn't seem to be on. Okay. Yeah. Can you see me? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Harish sir. This is Trupti.
Hi ma'am.
Hello, Rahul sir.
Hi, Trupti. Good to see you here.
Yeah, same here.
Hi, Harish. Can you hear me, see me?
Can hear you.
Okay, great. Good to be here. I'll stay on mute for a bit.
All right. Thanks, Imran.
Okay.
Simran, should we start?
Yeah, we could. Or do you want to wait for a minute or two more, or should we start?
Harish, just give people about 2 or 3 minutes maybe, because
right.
they might be downloading the Zoom app in case they haven't used it.
Sure.
Correct. Yeah. Let's start at 5:35.
All right.
Hi, Harish. Jagan here. Congratulations.
Hey, Jagan, thank you. Thank you for joining.
So, Harish, just checking the flow option. I mean, we're going with option 1, option 2. What did you finally decide?
We are going with option 2.
Okay, cool. So basically, option 2 means where there is
There are 3 breaks.
3 breaks, correct, and 2 back-to-back questions for someone who's
Yes.
supposed to be asked. Yeah.
Yes.
And the moderator in this round, is he the one who's going to ask us questions? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Imran. Hi, it's Rahul.
Hi, Rahul.
Hi.
The book already speaks highly of you, and so does Harish, of course. And so it's really nice to see you in person. I mean, I could use the word person, but in Zoom.
Now for the next 2-3 months, we got to get used to this saying in whatever in person.
So I'm in the business of events and experiences, and our business it survives on personal contact and personal touch and gatherings. So we are all gearing up for being a part of the virtual environment now. So I mean, this is something just the beginning. I think so. This is going to become they've been using words like the new normal and so on for the next 18 to 24 months minimum. I don't know how it's going to be, but
yeah.
Right, Imran, I actually just did a webinar last week on the future of travel with the MD of Mumbai Airport, who's a good friend.
Oh, nice.
I'll forward that to you. There's some amazing stuff that the airport is planning to make sure that we all get the guts to actually start traveling.
Hey, that's interesting. In fact, incidentally, one of our largest clients is Marriott International, and feel terrible for them because we've been interacting with the Hong Kong team, who's the events team, and they've already lost 3 people, and when 3 people have been asked to leave, and only 1 person stays back. So we're really hoping that people start traveling, start staying in hotels, and this whole cycle comes back. By then, Harish should write his second book.
Third.
So I'm saying he's a fast guy, so he can write a book in 6 months, and we'll be all back to normal in 6 months. Huh? So I look forward to that, Rahul. Thanks so much. I mean, I'll be happy to read that, to see that, or view that, whatever format. it is.
I'll send you the link on the email that Harish sent to all of us.
Sure. I look forward to that.
That would be great, because then all of us can access it.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
So Harish, I'll start then. I think 5:36, right?
Yeah, we can start.
Okay, great. Hi everybody, welcome to the launch of this very interesting book authored by my dear friend Harish Rijwani. And I would start by giving a introduction of Harish. I think most of us know him as a colleague, as a mentor, as a friend. But in this formal gathering, I would say I would like to introduce him as an information technology professional with over 17 years of experience. And amongst many passions that he has, one of his passion is teaching, and he is a visiting faculty for many institutes, including Wellinger, Symbiosis, NASSCOM. And he's author of 2 books, the first one being Healthcare Decoded, and the second one that we're going to talk about today is The Technology to Business, The Invisible Gap. With this, a very, very brief intro of how I have perceived, this topic that Harish has chosen to write a book about. And it's very interesting that, at such times, which are so challenging, where the economic activities across the globe have been affected, and, the disruption is calling in to redefine business models, the profitabilities are going to change. And I would, in fact, go to the extent of saying that it will also impact how we conduct and envision our businesses. So, while the world is struggling to find answers to containment and cure of COVID-19, I think it has provided each one of us to kind of introspect on various strategies to improve aspects of life and business around us. And at this stage, Harish's attempt to emphasize on business requirements-led technology solutions, a far cry from their legacy pure play technology, in fact, provides a fresh perspective to all of us. It is very, very important in these times that we focus on business drivers, and this book, in fact, very aptly will cover the shifting paradigm. So with this, I would like to introduce the experts and some of Harish's friends who have joined us on this call today. And I would start with Dr. Rahul Mirchandani. He comes with 23 years of experience, currently director of Aries Agro, and he has been ranked amongst the 30 most innovative CEOs in India in 2014. He's also been recognized as one of the world's foremost achievers in his field, listed in Who's Who in the World 2013, and has been invited to many coveted conferences across the world, receptions at Buckingham Palace, the High Commissioner banquets, amongst many others. We also have Mr. Jagannath Chittam joined us today. He's the founder and managing director of Vimsara Consulting. Vimsara Consulting is a firm that conceptualizes and designs persuasive communications for enterprises. For the over last 5 years, Jagan has trained 500 business leaders in understanding the persuasion process and designing effective presentations. We also have with us Mr. Rajesh Manuja. He is a technology professional. I've had the opportunity to work with him, and he comes with 28 years of experience in industries spanning across IT, banking, financial, manufacturing, and healthcare. We also have with us Imran Sheikh. He's the founder of the Event Studio, a boutique events and marketing consulting, working closely in the space of customer experience, technology innovation, AV production, gifting, and more. He has overall 22 years of experience as an entrepreneur. Moving on, we also have Dr. Kaustubh. Dr. Kaustubh is an entrepreneur turned academician and innovation evangelist, founded 3 companies from 1919 to 2005 in the domain of productivity enhancement technologies for manufacturing. He holds a PhD in corporate innovation and design thinking. He has also been recognized as the top 7 global innovators at the Smart City Congress, Barcelona 2015. I come to Mrs. Swati Phalke, one of my dearest managers. She's an IT professional with 23 years plus years of experience in industries such as insurance, healthcare, banking, and financial services. We also have Mr. Sanjay Salvi with us. He's an entrepreneur with 20 plus years of experience in IT across industries such as insurance, healthcare, banking, and financial services. He's currently partner at Abacus Infosystem. Prior to that, he was delivery director at Syntel. Joining us also is Mr. Sandeep Rawat. He is a digital transformation, analytics, big data, mobility, and IoT evangelist. He brings with him over 33 years of IT strategy, consulting, and delivery experience. He has been featured in the top 10 global digital transformation influencers to follow today by IDG. He also ranked number 2 in the top 15 Indian influencers in CEO World magazine. Also with us is Mrs. Trupti Nayak. She's working with the Vidyalankar Institute of Technology from last 10 years. She's a finance and law graduate who submitted her thesis in the area of corporate finance to the University of Mumbai. We have Mr. Shashank Ramdev to join us today, bringing his entrepreneurial investment understanding of over last 15 years across cross-sectional expertise. Apart from that, we also have Dr. Jheel, who's joined us. She's been Harish's student from Wellington Institute. And last but not the least, I am Dr. Simran Mittal. I've worked with Harish in Atos Syntel, and I'm a healthcare consultant with over 12 years of industry experience. I'm currently associated with CTS Tech as a lead for the largest medtech market. With that, Harish, I give the forum back to you. Thank you.
Sure, I'll request Dr. Rahul to just set the context.
Well, Harish, first of all, congratulations. It's always a very beautiful moment when your book is launched. And I must first of all begin by congratulating you as well as the team that you brought together to discuss elements of your book. It's been I think over a decade since you were in my class, and I must mention that when Harish called me out from the blue a few weeks ago and told him that this book was being launched as an extension to the learning journal that he had written in my class, that was perhaps one of the most fulfilling moments of my teaching career. So thank you very much, Harish, because it is, I've had thousands of students who've kind of come through my classrooms, but to see that you've actually taken one of the elements of what you learned in the class and contextualized it to the setting that you are working in, and more importantly, try to deliver that wisdom to a much larger community, makes this an extremely important moment, I'm sure, in your life and also in the lives of those whom you will impact with this book. So the purpose of course, the book here and the discussion today is to look at how an IT professional took in elements of what he learned at his IT workplace and then brought it into a business school classroom, learned, internalized from people across different cross sections, different other business groups, other professional backgrounds, and tried to kind of make an amalgam of all of that and bring it into his life and career going forward outside the classroom and a decade since. So of course, it is the invisible gap which basically links the technocrats to being good managers and good business people. And I think this is something that most of us grapple with. because most of us with most of the people here with science backgrounds, engineering backgrounds are fantastic on the science of what they do, but they kind of nearly take a fish out of water kind of a syndrome when it comes to managing that science and putting it into business. So I think this is a great way that you have actually tried to capture the invisible gap that has taken place from technology to business. While I was going through the bios of people who are joining in, I noticed that a lot of them are actually doing a lot of this on a live basis. And I wanted to maybe use the couple of minutes that I do have to maybe make you recall one of the models that we did in the class, because I think that is very relevant today. And that is, for instance, the one where we talked about going beyond traditional marketing tools, where you looked at, identifying a potential buyer, enlisting them, moving beyond to engage them in terms of looking at the attention, interest, desire, action model. But what we said is most of this is where marketing models end, but new marketing logic and things which I'm sure many of people who have joined in this webinar and the practitioners who are here with us this evening will realize that beyond the action, beyond the purchase, I think what we now as marketing professionals really like to see is how you're empowering your customers, empowering them with value addition, empowering them with customization, empowering them with analytics, and empowering yourselves with the power of big data. And I think this is the extension of the marketing mix, which has gone beyond the traditional enlisting and engaging to going on to empowering customers and yourselves, and as a result, enslaving them and becoming them becoming extremely loyal elements of your brand, and moving to enslaving those customers, making sure that they don't go anywhere beyond you, and making sure that you are the first place that all of them would kind of like to go to when they come to when they come to thinking about a particular brand or category. So I think if a lot of this book that I have read, a couple of chapters that I did read after you sent the initial set to me, was that a lot of it is what you are talking about, with several examples about how using technology, using data, using experiences, you are able to empower, enslave the customers after engaging with them in a most appropriate manner. So I certainly would like to see a lot of professionals gain value from the kind of examples and cases that you have put out, and more importantly, try to enrich their own professional backgrounds based on the rich texture of the material that you have put out in this book. So thanks very much once again, Harish. For me, it's the biggest joy to see one of my students take that wisdom and take it to a larger domain. And all the best and God bless in everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Rahul. Thank you. So I'm just going to extend some of the points, right? Like Rahul mentioned it, as a technocrat, as an engineer, right? The biggest challenge you face is, or rather, not in terms of challenge, the thought process of engineer is that he or she is very enthusiastic of whatever that person does. And you can actually look at that example right in your own houses. If you have a remote control, right, you'll find a lot of buttons on that, but you'll hardly use all of them. You might count them, it will be probably somewhere around 30 to 40 buttons on that particular remote. That is the enthusiasm which an engineer has. But when you look at other examples, if I use the remote which is there of Amazon, right? The Amazon remote which you have, if you're using Amazon Prime or anything, it hardly has 4 remotes. So that is where you're looking at moving from something where you're giving a lot of options to a customer, but coming back to just 4 or 5 buttons. And Dr. Simran in the earlier context mentioned, right, the current scenario. If you look at the current scenario which you have a business need for people using teleconsultation. Nobody can act. There isn't a situation where that, unless it's an emergency, that you wouldn't want to visit the doctor. But normally you would go to an OPD, you would go and visit that particular doctor. But in the current situation, what's there, that there is a huge business need in the market, specifically around telemedicine, teleconsultation. But it's very interesting to know that the concept of telemedicine was brought in place somewhere around 1920s, and it was called as pterodactyl. What it literally means, feeling at a distance, touching at a distance. It was conceptualized in 1920s. It was implemented in 1975. in the current situation, if you look at it, there is a huge business need in the market that everybody wants to move to a virtual environment. Whatever case that might be, in terms of an office, it's easy. But in terms of medical or any other area, right, you have to look at innovative ways. So this book is an attempt to showcase that unless there is a business need in the market, people will not really move towards uh, implementing a technical idea. And that's where, as an engineer or as a technocrat or as a science graduate, right, people forget the aspect in terms of why should I create a solution. And that's some of the gaps. uh, it's very difficult to explain some of those concepts to a science graduate. That's where I thought of extending this journal, trying to leverage a lot of historical examples which are there in this book to showcase how you can really understand and bring all of this together, because that's where you'll be able to showcase your business value rather than just talking about the technology angle. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for taking time out to joining this webinar and sharing some of your thoughts. All right, thank you.
So I think, Harish, the first question I'd like to pose to Mr. Jagan is, what was the initial reaction and how relatable you thought was this topic in the current context, Mr. Jagan?
So first, let me start off by saying, congratulating Harish. I think a lot of us have got a lot of ideas, but it takes a fairly truly dedicated and courageous person to put those ideas into words and have it published as a book. I think it is always one of those permanent to-dos on our personal bucket list. Very few people actually get to do it. So congratulations, Harish. And I really hoping that you go ahead and write a follow-on book to this one. So Dr. Michandani, to answer your question, my initial reaction was finally, right? Finally, quite literally, someone actually talking about something that we've been training people, telling clients, and urging them to look beyond what's in front of them in terms of technology. And I think if you look at what's happening today, a great example is how people are positioning, unified communication solutions right now, right? COVID has shut down everyone, right? And every technology, I mean, a month ago, I was telling my team that, guys, clients are going to now slowly start reducing the amount of work, right? You might not get much work. Don't worry. Next 3 months' salaries are done, so on and so forth. But the day, quite literally, when the shutdown was announced, I started getting calls from practically every customer we had asking for presentation, for messaging around collaboration, remote working, work from home technologies, so on and so forth. The point is, practically every one of these technology firms have the same or similar tools. The question is, how is this tool going to be made relevant to the customer, to the audience, to the user? And most of us, especially technology or technologists, fall in love so much with the product that they forget that there's another person involved in this equation, which is the person who's actually using it or the person who's actually buying it. And for me personally, the reason why this book is so relevant is that in the absence of that connection being made, a lot of careers start stalling out. And I've seen this with my own eyes. I worked for about 12 and a half years with Wipro. Some of the smartest, brightest people that I remember were all on the technology side, but put them in front of a customer, ask them to impress them with what is actually, how our products and services will actually transform their lives, you'll find them failing. And for me, this book really is important because I hope more technologists will start taking the business impact of technology more seriously and not just see it as sales stuff. Because end of the day, only when the connection is being made, only when the bridge gets built, will technology actually be seen as being useful and the technologists be seen as relevant in the audience's mind or in the customer's mind. And that's why for me, this book is so timely and extremely relevant. In fact, I would say it's a must read for anybody who's taking an engineering or a science or a computer science course, simply because it's important to put this idea in their mind that how much ever the technology is valuable, the real value lies in its being relatable to the audience and their business use and their pain points.
Sure. Thank you so much for that, Jagan. I wanted to maybe ask you if there is one quick example, I mean, one brand, if you could name one brand or one technology product which failed because it didn't look at the customer needs like you were talking about. Just one brand that comes to your mind, which kind
Oh
of
yeah,
did
I'll give you. I mean, this is an example that I take in most of my trainings, which is around communication, training program where I met Harish. The greatest example I would say is between Apple and Microsoft, right? Now, Steve Ballmer took over Microsoft in early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken, and his first big thrust was to get Microsoft on mobile. And I remember way back in 2002, if I'm not mistaken, 2003, I remember seeing an HTC phone with Microsoft mobile operating system. It was a touchscreen phone. You used to operate it with a stylus, but it was one of the first mobile phones with a graphic user interface available. But that went nowhere because they couldn't visualize how this phone would actually transform the life of their customers, their users. The person who eventually did it, we all know, was Steve Jobs and Apple, whose product came in about 5 years later, 2007. It was launched, January 2007 it was launched. But the entire product was built around how it's going to transform the lives of their users. I still remember the presentation. I still remember what he said, which is your life in your pocket. That's how the iPhone was positioned. Transformative product. Microsoft had all the tools and the technologies and everything they needed to make it work, but being unable to make that connection and just seeing this as just another operating system, they failed to grab the opportunity. And over 1 trillion phones have been sold, but unfortunately, very few of them actually Microsoft.
Thank you for that. I want to move to Ms. Dr. Kaustubh. Dr. Kaustubh, what was it that you liked the most about the book, the writing style, the structure? What is it, because I know you've read the book, what is it that you liked best about it?
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, great. The best thing that I liked about the book is like it's power-packed information in bite sizes. Typically, like Harish communicates a lot in short, brief, sweet sentences. I think that style has reflected very well into his book. It's shorn of jargon, so it's very easy to understand. It is targeted at the person who is a technologist, wants to get into business, but doesn't know how to do it, and is constantly, as Harish sometime mentioned, is like he wants to put 33 functions on the remote control, whereas maybe 3 or 4 only are needed. So Harish has captured that into very easily understandable stuff, which a person with zero management background, zero MBA background, so to say, will be able to understand. So that's something that I really liked about that. It's bite-sized, small capsules of information, very succinctly explained with relevant examples, so that it doesn't just remain at the conceptual level, but it is very easy to understand. When Harish gives an example, it's quickly easy to understand the application. That's something which I like the best about this.
And in fact, I think it's great because that was exactly what Harish did in the journal. Was that the task given to the entire class was to start where I leave off. When you leave off, we explained the concept and the terminology, but they had to pepper the entire journal with examples, cuttings, and latest examples from the world around them. And I think that's what Harish has extended. And I think the beauty of the book exactly is what you said, these bite-sized little examples that anybody can kind of digest very easily. So thank you for that. I'd love to also ask you about the structure. I mean, coming a little bit more technical, the writing style, the content. You did talk about the positioning of the book towards the technocrat. What to the technocrat would appeal in terms of the content, the structure of the book, the way it's laid out, the way it's kind of come together?
Well, firstly, I wouldn't say that it is only for the technocrat, but anybody who has an idea and wants to, go into an execution phase. So Harish has kind of captured that whole life cycle from idea to execution in a very understandable and a very practical manner, with the right examples at the right places. So, and what I liked about the whole thing is that he hasn't just picked up one case and gone from idea to execution, but at various stages, what can be done differently, he has kind of pointed out by using different case studies, different examples,
Sure.
which is what also reflects on his kind of breadth of knowledge, his breadth of domain understanding across different domains, understanding of the depth of the nuances across domains. What I liked about the style was, first of all, I mentioned that it's shorn of jargon. It's easily understandable. And it's like going back to school, where every chapter is like a 2.5 hour or 2 hour or a 3 hour lecture.
Correct.
And I think he's been greatly influenced by you, Dr. Rahul, which is great credit to you. After 15 years, a student remembers you. That's something really, really great. So what I liked about is that every chapter has a concept very clearly communicated in bite sizes, and the whole it's like a course. It's like taking a course, Session 1, lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 3, lecture 4, up to lecture 12. I think there are 12 chapters. Harish, yes, I don't quite remember how many chapters there are. 12 chapters?
Well, yeah.
11,
So
11 to 12 years.
it's typical a trimester of a college education. So it'll each of those chapters kind of make you think a lot and make you look forward to the next chapter, which is what Dr. Rahul, as you mentioned, that every session should end with the student enthusiastic to find out more, to kind of connect the dots, or what we typically call as the Gestalt theory. Leave a little blank and make that person curious enough to learn on your own, kind of a thing. So that's something which I've liked as far as the style is concerned. It's going through an entire course, so to say, without really realizing that it's a course. That's the beauty of the whole thing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Kaustubh. I want to speak to now Mrs. Swati. We would like to really know from you who would you recommend to read, and also, if you had to give a quick summary of the book, what would be the 2-3 takeaways? So the two things, whom would you recommend it to, and what would be the two quick takeaways?
Sure, Dr. Rahul. But before I answer your question, first of all, congratulations, Harish. I've been fortunate to work with Harish very closely in my earlier career at Austintel, and so proud to be associated with him for his second book launch. I couldn't make it for the first one, Healthcare Decoded. But thank you so much, Harish, for sharing the knowledge and learnings with all of us through this book. I think this book, the name suggests, really has a lot of content, which is very, very relevant for the, today's scenario. I also would like to thank you for, making me part of this panel, and also getting me and giving me an opportunity to connect with so many my fellow panelists, and especially Dr. Rahul. I have read your name so many times in the book. It is just amazing. I was just thinking while reading the book, how could somebody remember his or her professor after so many years? That association really says it all. So my pleasure, actually our pleasure to meet you, Dr. Rahul. So coming to the question, I have read the book as part of the, review process. If I really segment the entire readers community, right, there could be few readers who are in the journey of techno-academics, who are early in the career, just joined the organization, or just maybe 5, 6 years in the professional journey or entrepreneurial journey. There could be some professionals like us who are very, very seasoned and have lived the corporate world in and out. So for the book, who needs to be read is definitely, my short answer is the early in career people and people who are currently into the techno-academics journey. 2 reasons: it definitely brings in a lot of perspective. The thematic of the book itself is a good refresher for everybody, rather, and to give the perspective for the changing world around us. It also gives a more focused attention to the end consumer, rather than just looking at the, what needs to be done. It just looks at the end consumer's problem statements and really works backward. from the early in career people, I think it really gives like simplified messaging, as Mr. Kaustubh said. It really gives the application of the learning, the way he's mentioned about what he studied in his MBA class and how he has applied that to the throughout his career, and the relevant examples that he shared, not only from his healthcare industry. I know he comes with very, very strong healthcare knowledge, right, and the background, but it's a cross domain itself, right, says it all. So a short answer to the question is definitely a must read by the early career people, but it's a very nice read for all of us as well, which gives us a nostalgic feeling of what we have really forgotten in this journey of professional journey. So thank you.
Sure. Well,
What
thank
is
you.
the second question, Doctor?
Yeah, please. Harish, could you just slide, please?
All right. So how do I summarize the book? I think maybe few words, clarity of thoughts, really very, very simplified messaging, very well articulation with some cool examples which can be really understood by a layman. Again, cross-industry examples and many more, right? I think in this book, Harish has really cited many examples that focus on business use case and really eventually leading to the customer centricity rather than just looking at which technology will solve this problem, right? He's articulated, every topic by connecting the use cases back to the concepts that he learned, as I mentioned my earlier on the earlier question, in his management classes with the humorous style. And I know, working very closely with Harish, his style, and it really, really reflects very, very well when you read the book, and if you know Harish, probably you can just relate his style to. So it has come really from his heart, and he's just his attempt of putting all his knowledge and his career journey into this book really clearly displays in this book. So thank you, Dr. Rahul.
Thank you so much, Swati. It's a pleasure to hear these inputs. I'd like to, at this point, move to a little bit of an interactive mode. We are trying to use an audience poll, an interactive software. I'm going to take the screen from Harish now and ask you guys to go to menti.com. If you can go to menti.com, on your pop up a different screen on your phone, and put in the code 39737. 39737. And if you could sort of, all of you, all the people here on this call, if you could just put in, trained in science and tech, what would puzzle you the most when you became a manager? And I'd like to request everybody to kind of put in that one or two words, because it really gets us the mood of the house and involves everybody else who's listening apart from the panel as well. Trained in science and tech, what puzzled you the most when you became a manager? If you could, if everyone, and I am going to be an academic and make sure that all 34, all the people here do answer. I'm going to give you maybe another 10 seconds to do it. So please do that. So we can kind of get the mood of the house, because it kind of does address the issues, the pain points that most of us face, and also the kind of things that segue into the kind of things that Harish has tried to address in his book. And if something he hasn't addressed, he perhaps gives him inputs for book number 3. So Harish, please have a look at that as well. So yeah, so please, I think some interesting stuff coming out. Very, very interesting stuff. So yeah, we have 9 people, still some more to go. Yeah, interesting. So, it's a very range from problems, right from, finance, of course, coming to the big thing, because as a technocrat, understanding of finance is different than what everyone looks at. Teamwork, yeah, interesting stuff coming out. We have 17 people. Give another 10 seconds so I can get everyone's answers in. And then maybe I could quickly ask Harish to say what are the things that he has addressed in his book before we go on to the next question. Yeah, Harish, can you want to put out, can you unmute yourself and just quickly address if any of these issues which concern technocrats have been addressed in your book so far? Some interesting words coming up while everyone finishes their
So
review.
yes, from a costing perspective to a certain level, in terms of whenever you want to kind of create, how do I sell this, right? There's one pricing which you have to look at from the perspective of how much will it cost to build the solution, but there is another aspect in terms of how do I really, there's a cost associated in terms of how do I really sell that solution as well. In terms of the marketing pricing, that is one aspect which is covered, but not really the actual costing in terms of the solution. The application is definitely covered in terms of based on the examples which are there. The perspective, yes.
I think you certainly have covered the user psyche perspective. I saw a lot of examples on that.
Yes, the perspective, I've shared my own perspective, especially in terms of, like you mentioned in the earlier example, right? And you talked about engaging with the customer, enlisting the customer, right? So I've talked about my own understanding in terms of, I have a huge collection of Rubik's Cubes, and what really made me go and buy that cube, right? It's that process from just looking at it, then feeling that pain that I really want something, and going and buying it ultimately. That's what that process you need to generate, especially with any technology for that matter.
Sure. Perfect. Thanks. I think this, people have got some good answers here. I'm going to now move to the next question. Harish, you can take control of the presentation back. Mr. Rajesh, I'm going to speak to Mr. Rajesh next and ask him, what aspects of the author's story could you most relate to? I mean, which was the most relatable aspect as far as you are concerned, Rajesh? Mr. Rajesh, are you online? I saw you online a couple of minutes ago.
Sorry, I was probably speaking on mute.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So, like Swati, I have been privileged to work with Harish. And Harish, heartiest congratulations on this wonderful book that you have written. And obviously, best wishes for the recognition of the book and hence your talent as such. And Dr. Rahul, really nice to see you and hear you in person, virtually though. I heard a lot about you from Harish when I was working with him. And I would probably say that the book is as much Harish's effort as yours in helping him bridge the invisible gap as such. So
thank you.
Good job in that front as such.
Thank you.
So back to your question in terms of what aspects I was able to relate to, many. But in the interest of time, probably I will focus on two. One is more on a personal front, going to an evening class after work. So I did my engineering in electronics and then did my post-graduation in software. So this was while I was working. So I could relate to the effort he made to rush from work to class and then back home and kind of focus on his work and his studies as well. So that was one on a personal front. But on a professional front, the important piece which I was able to pick from the book and able to relate it was more in terms of how do IT engineers start in the technology world. And we always tend to presume technology plays a more important role in focusing on the product and the service, while we end up missing the customer needs and how could we wow the customer using the technology as such. So Harish in this book has beautifully used integrated marketing as a tool or a philosophy to highlight the various customer touch points and how we could relate these customer touch points into the product or service which we build for the customer and eventually wow the customer as such. This would obviously result in better customer satisfaction and eventually better sales for the product or the service which you are trying to build as such. So a lot of examples in there which I was able to relate to as such.
And if you had to quickly name your favorite chapter, I know there are 12, which is the one which you would be your favorite chapter?
Oh, again, a tough one. But if I had to pick one, the one which talks about exercising the brain and then the game plan, kind of in quick succession to each other. Not because I actually like exercising my brain. I'm sure all of us try to do that. And I also love sports, so the game plan definitely helped. But these chapter kind of summarize all the learning Harish has gone through and the marketing sections and the practical exercise which was given at the end of the sessions as such.
Okay.
It kind of picks on various aspects of integrated marketing in terms of the segmentation to competitor analysis, to focusing on the niche of the solution, the customer problem we are trying to solve, rather than saying, so for example, he beautifully says in that rather than saying that our solution is an analytical model using R and Python, isn't it better to say, how would I save 300 millions by identifying fraudulent claims as such?
Yeah.
So I would probably vote for the game plan and exercising your brain as the two chapters which I would kind of love as such.
Super. Thanks, Rajesh, for that. I'd like to move to Shashank and ask him on the title. How, when you look at the title and it kind of, does it scream out to you as a significant and meaningful title? I mean, how does it scream out to you, Shashank?
Thanks, Dr. Rahul. It's an absolute pleasure being here. Such interesting books, and thanks, Harish, for inviting me over. I've had the opportunity of working with Harish briefly on a project when he was in his previous company, and I've essentially spent a significant time engaging with technology-enabled startups, and hence spend a lot of time interacting with large corporates who are trying to innovate. And Harish, obviously, having dealt and spent a lot of significant time in the healthcare industry, I spent a couple of months interacting with him to understand certain mandates on the healthcare startups and which could work with the organization. And obviously, there, a lot of people think that the investor in startups pick up a lot when they're investing in companies. It doesn't work like that. We pick up a lot from the companies we're trying to sell to. And hence we picked up a lot and learned a lot during that journey from Harish through his insights on healthcare, and realized how startups need to pitch their businesses to larger corporates, and very aptly put in terms of how at the beginning of the session, Harish also mentioned, largely today we are being built out by engineers who don't necessarily have the, I wouldn't say aptitude, but the finesse of understanding how to convince a customer. And in these times, the business, and particularly now in COVID times, right? Everybody needs to pull up their sleeves. So I feel the release of this book, who's written it on his insights of working in large organizations, particularly engaging with startups, I think couldn't have come at a better time. And my background is that I always tend to think more startups. So I'm just in my mind thinking how entrepreneurs can take advantage of this book. And I see a lot of value because they need to understand the largest buyers, largest clients still, and will continue to be larger corporates. And we need to understand people who are working in those organizations. So that's my take in terms of the topic. I think it's very apt and it's timely.
And if you had to scale the how thought-provoking this book was for you, how on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate it?
I think it was thought-provoking to the extent of the simplicity, right? Okay. That I think as we continue to grow, as startups continue to build out, they get funding, they keep hiring, and it gets complicated and complicated at each stage. And what people tend to forget is sticking to the basics. I think this book, when I read it, it was so simple. It was fun to read it, right? It was so apt that we tend to forget these basics, and I think that was very critical in today's time. I think, and for a person like me, we run a seed fund. We are not a large private equity fund. And basics really make a lot of difference to us. Teaching our entrepreneurs to have basic slides, basic communication. The previous speaker mentioned the chapters on gaming, and instead of communicating a complex sentence on Python, can you just emphasize on how you're going to be building out something with a market size opportunity? So these simplicity enablers or tools are very important for entrepreneurs or any business individual, and hence the book was pleasant surprise in terms of what it had to offer. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to my future interaction with Harish and his thoughts of how he intends to go further down the line in the coming months.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Shashank. I want to Tripti now. I'm going to turn the table on you, Harish. I'm going to ask Tripti to ask you a question. Go ahead, Tripti. Go ahead.
Yeah, so before answering your question, thank you, Harish sir. Thank you very much. I'm really feeling privileged to be a part of this book launch. Last 2 years and 2 books we could see, you're working with. See, we all can think, we all can read, but it is when it comes to writing, it's really very tough. We all can understand that. And it is really commendable that the second book is on the bookshelf, and I'm really very happy to see that. So coming to the question, it's a very common question to ask, what is your inspiration? But I would like to ask you one question. What is the most challenging part of this book to write on?
So first of all, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for all your wishes. In terms of the most challenging part is, trying to relate it to my own experience. And one of the points what Dr. Rahul in his classes had told us, right? And he used to make us write the journal. And I do that for my students also. I make them write because that's the best way that, and I want them to reflect. Dr. Rahul said that reflect with your own examples. And he used to write that on the journal and give us the feedback. So the biggest challenge for me was, how do I add more examples from my own perspective, right? Which is where I thought of looking at a Rubik's Cube or any other example for that matter, right? Quite a few of these examples in this book as well as in Healthcare Decoded are relating to my own experience, because people are able to relate to that experience. Otherwise, if I just write a book, right, it becomes more theoretical. It becomes like an engineering book to sell. I wanted to write it more like a novel, more like something anybody can pick up and read some short stories. And probably the reason why I write is, like Dr. Kaustubh mentioned, I don't speak that much. That is why I probably express more in terms of the way I write.
Thanks, Harish. I think the next question for Tripti was a very quick one. Is how relevant is the topic for anyone? So if in terms of relevance, do you think the relevance of this book is at this point in time, especially with the world being as it is right now, how relevant is it right now for anyone?
I would rather call this book a perfect connectivity, sir. It's really very perfect in terms of, when you first told me it's technology to business. Being a typical academician, I thought, no, it's particularly a technology book. I won't be able to understand because I'm from totally a commerce background student, a finance person. But then once I started reading the book, I got to know it's really a fun. It is very simple to understand. Integrated marketing, and it is connecting the dot between technology and business. So perfectly relatable, to a layman, I may call myself like that. And definitely it will relate to all my students. As one of the speaker also mentioned that it is perfect for the, new entrant, for the MBA student, non-MBA students. All right, wherein the student will definitely understand, because I could, cite an example of Rubik's story or the dart, which appeal me the most. A very basic concept you have explained such a beautifully with, a dart and segmenting, positioning, targeting. It was really appealing for me.
Well,
so
it's good to know, Tripti, because actually in our class we taught segmentation with a dartboard and a Rubik's Cube. We didn't have a textbook. I think Harish's class used the dartboard.
So you yourself is the textbook. I know I've heard a lot of time from my students. Your class is always an enjoyment for them, and so is Harish sir's class. My system students are perfectly so happy with Harish sir, and my marketing students. They treat you as a god. Rahul sir's class. So I think the book is quite relatable to all of us, to faculty, to revisit our MBA days, and to all my students, definitely.
I'd like to do a quick audience poll at this point. We wanted to audience interact while launching a new product or service. What do you think a company needs to focus on? And there were three. We talked a lot about technology right now, and we also needed to look at some of the other skills, demographics, the age profile, income profile, other variables that define the population, the habits of the target audience, technology that builds the product or service, or all of the above. And I'd like all of you to quickly go back to the menti.com in your piece, in your devices, and just kind of quickly give us your inputs, because this is one of the models that I'm sure Harish does talk about in his book, and we have discussed at length in various sessions. Well, it'd be interesting to see what the audience members think about. So please go and sort of go to menti.com and give us this interaction before we go to the last two panelists very quickly. Another 5 seconds. Interesting. It's very, very interesting to see that you're getting a pool of answers which talk about habits, and technology is really something that is coming in all of the above, because all of the above, yeah, technology is very critical, but actually it's the habits that kind of come out, and technology and demographics are definitely more clinical elements of the marketing mix, and therefore come in all of the above. So very interesting perspective, Harish. In fact, it actually tells why you need a book like this, because it's not just technology that matters, but way beyond that. Would you like to react to this?
Yeah, so I'd just like to give an example which we had related in class as well, was around Kellogg's, right?
Yeah.
As Indians, we all like to eat heavy breakfast. We're not really interested in eating Kellogg's with hot milk, right? It becomes very soggy, which is where what Kellogg's tried to do was they targeted a specific demographic. They targeted small kids in schools, right? Small kids. That is where they were trying to change the habit in terms of the perception of people. And if you look at it from the current perspective, right? If you go to any restaurant in the morning, the buffet has an option of Kellogg's as well. So people have not left the Indian breakfast. It's just an add-on, which has become an add-on to that overall perspective. And obviously technology does play a way in terms of how do you build that particular food or whatever else is there surrounding that. So all three actually play a strong role in this.
Yeah. In fact, if I remember, we did have a lot of discussion on if all the three are not taken in place simultaneously, then the product is doomed. You need to look at all three. But actually, it's interesting to see how technology has actually taken a second seat, and its habits, which kind of come out up front. Very interesting, especially why technocrats need a book like yours. So congratulations on the topic. Take the screen back, and I'm going to ask Imran now a question regarding how did the structure of the book seem to appeal to the story that Harish is trying to say. I mean, he has a lot of little stories, but how do you think the structure affected the story that he was trying to communicate?
So, am I audible?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just a moment. Actually,
you are audible, Imran. Go ahead.
Yeah. I have actually noted some points down, so I may not miss out. I only look intelligent. I'm not as intelligent as Harish. He also speaks well. He writes well. He's an engineer. He's an MBA. हम तो पढ़ लिख के यहाँ तक पहुँच गए छोटा मोटा करके. So anyway, so first a few starters. Okay, first, lovely title, Harish. The Invisible Gap is itself catchy. Is an eyeball grabber, if I may say. Second, the design, very pleasing to the eye. So even if I didn't know you personally, if I was in Crossword and I would be browsing through books, I would definitely pick it up. So, kudos to the design, kudos to the title. The book campaign, okay, some excellent work there, okay. Right from the pre-launch to the launch that we are, doing this virtually, you've actually, what you've shown with just your book, all your experiences. So, you've actually put to practice what you're trying to narrate in your book, so to speak. So congrats there, Harish. It's an honest attempt. And by the way, it's packaged and launched. You have actually somewhere done, where in simple words, people say, practice what you preach, to reiterate. So thanks for having me here in this August company. Dr. Rahul, pleasure meeting you. I've, of course, the book speaks a lot about you, and I was looking forward to saying hello to you. And I look forward to receiving that email with that little anecdote you spoke about earlier.
Sure.
So to come back to the question in terms of how did the structure of the book affect the story, I think so it's the other way around. Not the structure of the book, but the story of the book. The narrative or storyline, I believe, has led to the structure of the book. Many may have the skill to capture the essence, but of what they're actually trying to say or of the topic. But not many have the ability to narrate the same while holding on to the essence. And that's what Harish has done in this book. The structure arrived thus because the narrative helps achieve that. I'd also like to add that since Harish narrates his own story in a certain flow, almost like a biography, right? I mean, it originated from a journal, but when you read a book and kind of enjoy reading it, its structure evolves. So it's not something that was, hey, I'm going to write a book on marketing, so I'm going to talk about demographics, customer, market, segmentation, product, competition. I don't think so. It evolved there. It kind of moved. It evolved as he was kind of narrating the story. So it's like a one-on-one dialogue. It's not a book. It's actually a story, right? So that's the beauty of it in terms of the structure. It's conceived in a certain way is what came across to me. He hops in and out of cases. He brings in examples which are relevant and which I feel is excellent as a starter kit for any beginner. Okay, it lays the foundation well. In fact, when I went to the book, I asked Harish a simple question: who are you targeting? And he said, hey, I would like to target the beginners, the people who are starting their career in IT, in engineering. And I think so. It's so apt. He's right on target there as far as that is concerned. I hope I was able to kind of bring in some relevance to your question, Dr.
Sure, absolutely. And we also look at, look at the pace of the book, considering the audience you mentioned. Do you think it's too fast, too slow, just right? What would you kind of look at?
I'll say it's right. I won't use the word just. I'll be just there. I will not use the word just. Since it drops the pace somewhere, but that's the whole part of the narrative. Harish is being honest in his narration, right? When you talk to someone, you may change the tone of your voice. You may get excited about some certain topic at a junction of the story, or you may kind of slow down. And that's what the book does. It's an interesting way, the way he narrates it. And it also showcases how he has grasped the brand story, how he has learned through his journey. It's not a MBA student who topped, he's a top 10 students of India and suddenly writes a book. It's his entire journey, right? He learned from you, implemented it. He's an engineer who's writing a book about marketing or business, right? So, that's the invisible gap he's trying to say. For an IT professional who wants to learn the business side, it's excellent. In terms of the pace. Look, I have had the advantage, or I would say the privilege, of working with one of the largest IT companies as a client. Okay, so I am a service provider and I have a client. I haven't worked in an IT company. I was nowhere near engineering. If I had to be an engineer, I would be still studying, okay, with all this. Anyway, the fact of the matter is that I have had the privilege of interacting with the business side of an IT company, engineers, whether we are trying to, our business is to help them showcase what they do in a beautiful manner, in a simple manner, whether it's using technology or not, whether it's in an exhibition, whether it's in an event, whether it's in a conference. And I see a lot of these brilliant guys who come up with the best of technologies, whether it's using IoT, AR, whether it's using cloud computing, and they struggle to sell what they have created. So this book, I think so will help. I mean, that's why I was so excited. It's beautifully entitled. It says The Invisible Gap, because guys are brilliant. They are IITians. They have the best business solution the market needs, but they're not able to talk that, sell that, so to speak. And that's why Harish hits the nail on the head. I would also like to believe that there are, for someone who's already comes from that background, he already has an IQ, he already has that IQ to grasp it. So how does the pace matter?
Exactly.
Right? When he's reading it and he's being able to narrate it, and it's so beautiful because he can actually plow it back into his daily life. And I think so well done there for Harish.
Well, super. And I don't think that the technology gap is slowing you to show your enthusiasm. And we can all feel it as if you are right in front of us. So thank you very much, Imran, for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks,
you very
Harish,
much.
and wish you all the best. We look forward to, we've already exchanged emails on this. I look forward to version 2 also of on what we've discussed in the past.
And Sanjay, over to you. What would be your favorite quote or passage? What would be your favorite quote, Sanjay? What would be the one that you love the most? I saw you online a minute ago,
Yeah.
so I know you're there. Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rao, and taking a couple of minutes just to congratulate Harish for his magnificent effort and wonderful book that he has come up with. And thank you, Harish, also for allowing me to be part of the panel and with these great people in the panelists. And I having an opportunity to interact with Dr. Rahul as well. Suppose that coming to the question, favorite passage, it's a difficult question you have asked Dr. Rahul. The book being loaded with a lot of different, lot of different incidences and passages and quotes for various chapters that he has. But to pick a couple of them, I would first pick the one where the programmer is been asked, how do you package your solution or your product? And Harish has explained it is to his own experience, because that gives you a different perspective as a technology person. You also start thinking from the angle of, oh, what is the need of this product? How do I package it to sell? And that gives a brilliant start to the book as well. The other passage that I would also like to talk about, though you have asked only one favorite, but I would like to talk about is the Rubik's Cube incident that Harish has explained. He went through his own psychology as he went through when he started collecting different Rubik's cubes. That allowed him to understand how the marketing thing is working. As they say, if you can know yourself, you can know the world. So I think that passage is also a very good passage to go after.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sanjay. I'm going to ask now a question to Sandeep. How, in your opinion, how easy was it to connect business aspects of technology? Business and technology, obviously that's the invisible gap that Harish is talking about. But was it, by reading the book, do you think now it's easier for us to make the connect, or for any practitioner to make that connect? Sandeep, over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say that first of all, it was really good to hear all of you, and Dr. Rahul, specifically you. And when someone like Harish remembers you so much, absolutely, you must have done a great job in nurturing all those students who are going through your classes. So once again, thanks for that. Now, coming back to the question, everything starts with a need, right? Either we have a business problem or we have some kind of need, which is where then solving it comes into the picture. And that's where people will come back to the technology. We just saw the poll, right? Technology is just an enabler. We will first think to need about identifying about what is the business problem, and then think about how we can solve that. I mean, I can take an example of Uber, right, where their business model says we are dealing with the people who need a car. Either they drink and they don't want to drive, or they want to shine in front of your girlfriend, or they want a chauffeur driven car to go to a party, so on and so forth. So instead of going in a Kala Pila cab, they want a nice cab coming at their doorstep. So that was the first problem they identified. Now, knowing exact ETA of that car at your doorstep also is a problem. अगर हम लोग junction पे जाके काला पीला taxi ढूंढने को जाएंगे, obviously it's a very difficult thing to do. So then they address that or those problems with the technology. They created a mobile app. They integrated it with multiple GPS areas and drivers and stuff like that. So that's where I would say connecting business and technology obviously is essential. You need to identify the first business problem. and that I feel Harish has done with such a lovely, stories, as he also said, and Imran and everybody talked about. I felt like I was watching the Three Idiots, man, while reading the book. It was so good way, and he himself said he did not want it to be a scientific journal or technology book. So that's really a good effort, and hats off to him in terms of. So well, obviously people will find it easy to connect technology to the business problem.
And in terms of uniqueness, do you rate the book as unique?
Obviously yes, I mean whenever you talk about your own experiences it becomes unique, because
Absolutely.
it's not like writing something which is common to all. It is your own experiences, and I mention again, it was a feeling like watching Three Idiots, because you are going through all your college days, your engineering days, talking about MBAs, writing those journals, and then remembering those incidences. So yes, it is extremely good in terms of uniqueness, and Harish has done a great job. He himself mentioned he speaks very rarely, but he writes very good, and that I have experienced in Intel when I was working with. So yeah, great effort on the uniqueness as well.
Thank you very much, Sandeep. I think the last question we have for the audience then is, obviously we've talked a lot about this book, but as an author, it becomes now addiction to keep adding to the pool of books that you write to. So Harish wanted to ask all of the people on this, is any other topic you feel that he should write on in book number 3 that I'm sure he's already thinking of tackling? So we'll leave a couple of seconds where you could give Harish some ideas on what the next book should kind of be the topic of. Any of you could kind of just add some on these. Give some ideas to Harish on that. I love the first one. Yeah, digital in healthcare, the new normal, yeah. The Rubik's Cube of time management. Harish, I love that. Yeah. Very interesting ones. Harish, would some quick comments from you on this, please? Quick comments.
Yeah, I like the Rubik's Cube. So yeah, definitely that can be something I can take up.
Yeah. And I think the new normal has now suddenly become a,
yes.
Everyone seems to be using that nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah. An interesting poll. Harish, you can now take the control back and look at announcing the winners of the contest that you had for this book.
Yes. Yes, Dr. Simran, you have the names?
Yes, I do. Thank you. So we have the contest winners. The first one, Aishwarya Nandagiri. Second is Kia Matthew. And last but not the least, Imran Sheikh.
Congratulations.
Sorry, Imtiaz Sheikh.
Oh, Imtiaz Sheikh. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Harish. I knew there was something there for me to attend as well.
Okay, I'm sorry for this, but congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah, Imran, it's okay as long as it comes to you anyways.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
I know.
The two sheikhs can share it. It's all right.
I know. And as long as the list was under my control, Harish, I wish I had added my name too. But yeah.
Well, congratulations to all the winners. And Harish, I think you should do the honors of announcing this.
Sure. So I'll get in touch with all three of them. It's a very complicated process to gift a book to someone on Amazon India, but I have figured out a way, so we'll get that. So all three I have interacted. Actually, the contest was they had to share this particular slide which is there, right? This was supposed to be shared on social media. So this is another aspect in terms of what we tried to implement. This was something we learned in class also. What are the ways in terms of pulling the audience towards you? So this was something we tried to implement. So we'll get in touch with Kea, Imtiaz, and I forgot the third, Aishwarya. Yes.
Yeah.
So you can get a copy of the book online. So you just need a Kindle app. You really don't need Kindle for that matter. So you can, if you're in US, you can download it from here, all this link. If you're in India, from here, UK, here.
And this is in Canada or?
Yes, Canada is also there. This is Canada.
Okay.
It's available on all the Amazon stores. It's just that you need to go on that specific website and search for the name of the book.
Well, congratulations, Harish. I think we all need to give you a big round of applause for the books that you have. Congratulations. I think this is a dream come true for many of us.
Thank
you. God bless every other book that you put out and every person who crosses your path.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Harish. All the best.
Wish you all the best, Harish. Dr. Rahul, pleasure meeting you. I'm going to sign off and look forward to your next book, Harish.
Sure.
Take care.
Thank
Harish,
you.
all the best.
Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations again, Harish. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you for having us over.
Thank you.
Okay, Harish, congrats. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.